Hi guys, you're welcome back to Mitch Fits. Here we learn tips, tricks, and techniques of making beautiful and of course amazing outfits. Yes, it's been a while since we dropped a new tutorial video and I know you have missed us so much, but don't worry, we are back to make you happy. On this tutorial, I'll be teaching you guys how to make this very beautiful palazzo pant or a palazzo trouser as you would call it. So it is fitted from the waist down to the hip side, and from the hip side it is loosed down to the hem line. So this is how it looks like on the hem line. You can see it's wide fit on the hem line. So that is what we'll be learning how to make today. You know, in cutting any fabric, you can either do a freehand or you can do pattern drafting. So for this trouser, I am going to be using pattern drafting with my paper to cut out my fabric before I start to sew or do anything further. And the main reason I am drafting first is because this fabric is very lightweight, so I would not want it to be moving up and down when I am taking down my measurements with my chalk. So if you'd love to learn how to make a palazzo pant or a palazzo trouser, then watch this video to the end. Now I have my pattern paper ready. I have my scissors, my marker pen, my pattern master ruler, and here I have my tape roll. Basically, these are the things we would be needing to draft on our paper, and that's the same thing you would need to draft on your paper. So now I'll be taking down the measurement I'll be using to make this trouser, and the first measurement will be the round waist measurement. So I'll take it down as W, which signifies waist. So the waist measurement for this is 29 inches, and that 29 inches I'll be dividing it by 4 because the trouser pieces is into 4 places, which is 2 for the front and 2 for the back. The next measurement I'll be taking down is my hips measurement. So I'll use H to signify hips, and the round hips measurement is 38.5 inches. This also will be divided by 4 just like we did for the waist. Now the next I'll be taking down is the crotch width, which I'll get by dividing the hips measurement by 4, and whatever I have I would add extra 2.5 inches for the under crotch extension. For a smaller person, you go ahead and add 2 inches or you leave it at 2.5 inches. Then for a medium sized person, 2.5 inches is just fine, while for a big person you can do 3 inches. So the result I got after dividing the hips by 4 was 9.625, but I decided to leave it at 9.6. Although when I'm cutting on my fabric, I would take down 9 half and quarter. So if I add this together, I would have 12 and quarter. So enough of the mathematics, not to confuse you. This will be the crotch width. Now let's put down these measurements on paper. So on this paper, I'll be taking both my length and my width measurement. On my width measurement, I'll be adding extra 1 inch for my seam allowance. Right now, the highest measurement I have is 12 and quarter. Adding 1 inch to that will give me 13 and quarter. So on this paper, I have enough space to take down all my measurements. This paper is about 15 inches, but if I was making the fitted trouser from the waistline down to the knee line or the hemline, I would make use of my round thigh measurement as my highest measurement. Now I'm going to rule out my start point, and from here I'll be taking down all my length measurements, starting from the waist to hip line measurement. This trouser is going to have a 1.5 inches waistband. That is why my tape roll is placed this way. So that half inch ruled out will be the seam allowance for joining my trouser to my waistband. So my waist to my hip line is 8.5 inches, and I'm going to come down by 2 inches for my waist to my crotch depth. So my waist to my knee line is 20 inches because the full length of this trouser is going to be 40 inches. Dividing 40 inches by 2 will give me 20 inches. That is what I'm going to take down as my waist to my knee line measurement. Now I'm going to mark this down. I'm taking my knee line measurements because I do not want this trouser to be very wide from the hip line downwards. So I'm going to be making a little adjustment from the hip line down to the hemline. I'm going to take same measurements as I did earlier, and then I would take my full length, which is 40 inches. Now the next step is to roll these lines over one after the other. So that's the hip line, the crotch line, the knee line, and the hemline. The extra 1 inch is for the hemline folding. Now that I have all my lines rolled out, I'll start to label each of them, starting from the waistline, then the hip line. This will be the crotch line. I'll indicate with a C, and after that the knee line, which I would indicate with a K. The full length I would indicate with FL, that is to show full length. The first measurement I'm taking down is the hip measurement, which is round hip measurement divided by 4, and for me it is 9.5 with extra 1 inch for seam allowance. I'll take same measurement from the waist down to the crotch line and rule a straight line connecting these dots. So for the crotch extension, I'll be adding 2.5 inches like I explained earlier to give a good fit underneath the crotch. You can also get this under crotch by dividing your round hips measurement by 16. So now that I have marked this, I'm going to connect these 2 points together. You can use your free hand to connect these 2 points or use your curved ruler to achieve a very nice curved line. If you want to achieve a nice curved line with your free hand, just place your tape like this, measuring 1 inch, and mark that point, then connect it together. The next point I'm going to take is to measure what I have on my crotch line. So I'll place my tape rule like so and see the measurement I have here. After that, I'm going to divide these measurements in 2. So I have 13.25. I'm going to divide that in 2 to enable me create a center line, which can also serve as the gator line of my trouser. So whatever number I get, I'll put it down on the middle line. I'll do the same thing on the knee line and also on the full length. Now I'm going to connect these 3 points together with a straight line from the crotch to the knee down to the full length. This is to enable me take a better measurement to give it an equal fit. So the both parts have same measurement, and I'm going to take the crotch measurement all the way down. This will help me with a better adjustment, like I said earlier, and I'll start this from the knee line to the full length. So I'll put my crotch measurement on the knee line, and I'll do the same thing on the hemline. Now I'm going to subtract from the knee line ½ inch on both sides. Like I said, I will be adjusting from the knee line. After doing that, I'll connect from the crotch line to the ½ inch that was adjusted. I'll do the same thing on the hemline. Now that I'm done with that, I'm going to connect the crotch to the adjusted knee all the way to the full length. Then go to the hip side of the trouser and do just the same thing. I'm sure you can see the little curve from the crotch line to the knee line. Then from the knee line, it is straight down to the hemline. Now let's go ahead to take the waistline measurement, which has the smaller measurement compared to the hip and the crotch. For this paper, I'll impute a dart measurement on this trouser, which I'll later take off or eliminate. I hope you know adding darts to your clothes helps to give it a very good fit around some areas. But for this trouser, I do not want the dart line to be on it, so I'll put the dart and then eliminate it later on. Now I'm going to take the measurement for my dart, which I did 3.25 from the waist inwards and 4.5 from the waist downwards. Now I'm going to connect from the waist to the 4.5, and on that line I'm going to take out ½ inch on both sides of this line. So I'll go out by ½ inch on both sides and then connect it downwards to the 4.5 line ruled out. This is the typical way of taking a dart on your trouser, but this measurement varies on different body size. Now I'm going to slash this side of the dart and then close it up. You remember I said I do not want any dart line on my trouser. That is why I am eliminating or closing up my dart line, and I am using this paper tape to close it up. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want the waist to the hip line of my trouser to be well fitted without any gap or any fabric poking out from that part of the trouser. Now I am putting down my round waist measurement, which I divided by 4. So at this point I forgot to add the extra 1 inch for seam allowance. I'll be making the adjustment later on, but for now let's cut out our trouser pattern. So this is how it looks like after cutting out the extras. Like I said, I forgot to include 1 inch seam allowance on the waistline measurement. Like, you know, nobody's above mistakes. So I'm going to add my 1 inch extra for the seam allowance, and then I'm going to add extra ½ inch for my zipper allowance. This trouser is going to have the zipper by the side of it, not the front of it. Making it this way is only by choice, not compulsory. So if you do not know how to put a zipper by the side of your trouser, this is a chance for you to learn it. So now that I have made the adjustment on the waistline, correcting the mistake, I went ahead to cancel out the first line. For me, I am stopping the zipper allowance on the hip line, but you can make yours a little below the hip line, that is in between the hip line and the crotch line. It will still come out just fine. So guys, I'm done with cutting out the front pattern for my trouser, and I hope you understand every bit of it. If not, please ask your question on the comment section. Now it's time to cut our back pattern, and we'll be using this front piece as a guide. For the back, we'll make sure it is wider with about 3 inches and longer with about 1.5 to 2 inches. We are adding all these measurements because the back piece is where it has the butt area, so it is bigger than the front side. I am taking down the front pattern paper downwards a little because I want to increase the measurement for the back pattern waistline. Like I said earlier, I'll be adding 1.5 to 2 inches for the center back to increase the length of the center back. Now I'm just going to pin down my front pattern to the other paper for easy marking. So guys, I'm done pinning down the front paper to the back, and the extra measurements are going to be added to this side of it, while this is going to remain the same. I'm going to rule out these lines on the back side like I did for the front before I start to impute my back side measurements. Pinning your front paper to the back side will make it easy for you to rule out your lines. Now I'm going to add my crotch extension, which I'll put down 3 inches. Then on this point, I'll come down by ½ inch. This ½ inch is to help with the back side inner thigh seam line meet up with the front side inner seam line, which is the seam from the crotch line to the hemline. Now on the hip line, I'll add 2 inches to the back side measurement, and for the waistline, I'll go ahead to add 2 inches. After doing that, I'll connect the points down to the crotch line, and on the knee line, I'll also add 2 inches. From the knee line downwards, I'll add 2 inches here and on this point, and also to the full length. Since this paper is not up to, I'll make the adjustment on my fabric. So for this, I'm going to be adjusting the center back a little and make the waistline 1.5 inches instead of 2 inches because I want the center back to be well fitted on the body. But if you're making the waistline an elastic waistline, that is using elastic band for it, you can go ahead to leave your 2 inches. So after making the adjustment, I'm going to connect the new points together now, and from this hip line to the crotch line, I'll use broken lines or dotted lines to connect these points to see how curved it is. After doing this, I'm going to take my curved ruler to make the line more visible. Now I'm going to connect from the crotch line to the knee line, and after that I'll connect it all the way down to the full length, just like I did for the front pattern. Please, if you're new to my channel and you're not yet subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and also click on the notification bell So on this waistline, I'll go up by 1.5 inches for the center back extension. Then I'll go ahead to connect it to the side seam of the front pattern. This center back adjustment is to help your butt sit properly in your trouser to avoid any discomfort when you are sitting down. Then for the center front, to avoid any excess fabric around here, you should come down by either half or 1 inch, depending on how you want the fitting to be around the belly area. So just place your tape like so, and from the waistline mark 1 inch downwards. So we have 1.5 inches at the center back with seam allowance inclusive, so making it 1 inch upwards, and for the front we have 1 inch downwards with seam allowance inclusive. After doing that, I'll go ahead to connect the center front to the side front. So guys, you can see we have 1 inch upwards at the center back and 1 inch downwards at the center front. So we're done with drafting out our palazzo trouser pattern. I'll just go ahead to cut this out. So guys, don't forget this trouser is going to have a side zipper. That is why the front and the back look like so. This is how it looks like on the back side. I'm just going to take ½ inch or ½ and quarter to sew this center back. I'll start it with ½ and quarter on the waistline and end it with ½ inch underneath the crotch line. By the time I add my waistband to this trouser, the zipper area is going to increase because this trouser is a high-waisted trouser. Now I'm going to cut off the line on the center front and we'll be done with the pattern drafting. So please guys, follow me to our next tutorial where I'll be coupling all these pieces on my sewing machine, sewing from the beginning to the finishing of our palazzo pant. So please guys, do not forget to subscribe to this channel and hit on the notification bell to stay updated when I post new tutorial videos. So if you have any question regarding this tutorial, please drop it on the comment section and I'll be right there to answer to your questions. For now guys, I'll see you in our next tutorial. Bye.